Hi everybody, my name is Ruth, and in this video I'm going to talk to bloqarl, who is an active content creator on Twitter and posts about blockchain and security. I'm really excited to talk to him. So would you mind introducing yourself to the crowd?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm bloqarl. I have been related with blockchain for maybe a half a year or so, and ever since I've been learning about either DeFi and then Solidity until some point that I got into Web3 security and started to realize that there is so many things that are very complex, and actually it's when I decided that I needed to write about it, so I started to writing everything I was learning. So I started with Twitter, but then switched to Medium, so I write my articles there. And I'm doing that because it helps me uh, understand things. And at the same time, I am aware that we are, like many of us are in the same stage. So I believe what I learned, it can be very useful for other people. So that's a bit about me, actually.
Yeah, we really appreciate your content, and I personally have that notifier on for your profile. So whenever you post, I'm there. I'm just like, bloqarl have posted something, I need to know about it. So we really appreciate your content, and it really makes us learn new things. So thank you so much for doing so. So moving ahead, I have this the first question for this interview. The question would be like, how did you get started with Web3 and versus how is it going right now?
So, okay, maybe I can give a bit of background for myself, because I come from a technical background before Web3. I am actually a tester, a QA on mobile applications. However, I've been like doing the automation QA part. So I was familiar with programming, with Kotlin, Java, some Python, and so on, but not much. So what I mean is that some people here come from with some security background, with some development, and I decided to jump into this with a bit of maybe not fear, but it was either switching to Android development or starting with blockchain. And I came into this because a friend of mine introduced me to it, and that's why actually my first months or 1 or 2 months in blockchain was in a course that I was studying mainly about DeFi. It was introduced many things about the Uniswap, the tools, history. Actually, there was a lot about Bitcoin, so that I would understand the origin of blockchain. I mean, me and other people, because there was also a community there, actually. So that was why and how I started, and eventually I started to learn about Solidity with the resources that we all know, and you might have, I mean, yeah, Patrick and Crypto Zombies and so on. And well, that's how I started, and now, in a way, I went away from DeFi, let's say, because I was focused more into Solidity and JavaScript, because it was testing with hard hat. But eventually, after deciding to start auditing, and that was roughly 2 months ago or 2.5, so it's not even that much. That's when I realized, thanks to some other colleagues from Twitter, that DeFi is the key to understand, to improve in auditing, and that's why I started to study separately the DeFi protocols like Uniswap, Aave, and others. So yeah, let's say that's the change.
That's amazing. And I did not know anyone as such who started as a QA and is now doing blockchain. So you're the first one I have ever met. And it's crazy that the transition itself from a QA engineer to a full-time blockchain guy. So it's amazing. So moving ahead.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is sometimes a bit like you can see that others might have much more experience. So let's say we just need to give more effort, but it's doable.
Yeah, for sure. And you said that some friends of yours told you that that DeFi is the key. So do you think collaboration is very important in learning new things or in general?
Absolutely. Well, it's just I've had in multiple occasions already the chance to work with someone, and the same friend that introduced me to the to blockchain to the even the term blockchain that I didn't even know. I ended up after a bit of practice with Solidity, she gave me the opportunity to write a smart contract for her project because she didn't have the time. She didn't have the time, and I needed practice. I needed something that was not following someone's guide, like in a YouTube tutorial or anything. So that was the first, let's say, collaboration I had, and after that, well, I don't know. I think in general helping each other, for instance, lately, last week or 2 weeks ago, I did an audit with another colleague, just someone that I met in the smart contract hacking course actually, and we made for 1 week. We participated in a code arena audit together, and we shared like many different things together, and we were going through different complicated concepts because it was Venus, the protocol, and it was quite tough. But it was excellent experience because well, I could see some like a way that the way he's working, the tools that he uses, and well, he I guess also got some insights from how I'm approaching the audits. And in general, it's about sharing resources. I mean, collaborating. It's mainly what I do in Twitter by sharing everything I learn. So the way to move forward is like stay in touch with each other either by the tweet feed or even Discord communities.
Yeah, for sure. And many people emphasize on this that collaboration is the way to go. And you might do solo on sometimes, but it is not recommended on a long run because you learn a lot of things from collaborating. You might not succeed in one thing because there are chances, there are high chances that you might know about something that your friend might know. So I definitely recommend people out there just reach out to people and collaborate. And that being said, you mentioned that you started or recently audited like a protocol or a smart contract on code arena, right? So what is your approach whenever you are given a target? How do you approach towards it, and what are some of the tips that you can tell our viewers that these are some of the tips that might boost up their auditing skills?
So in general, maybe it's still not something that I'm implementing or that I'm doing, but ideally at first, because I mean I've done the studies of some DeFi protocols before starting an audit, but I didn't end up participating in that one. But for instance, before starting the audit, the ideal thing is to take a look at either their website or mainly their documentation, because that's always visible. Because as I've experienced, I think it's usually hidden the repository before a few weeks before the audit, so you have access to the documentation. So it's good to go through it and understand what is that protocol about, if it's forked from any of the popular, or if it's a lending protocol or a DEX, or what is it about. That's very important. And after that, what I do is I clone the repository and I start checking the files, in general, starting with the ones that are like interfaces, the ones that are shorter, let's say, and moving up to those that are with more complexity and so on. But to be fair, it's never that just structured, because sometimes you are checking one contract that it's making a reference to another contract that it's either inheriting from or whatever, and then you start switching and jumping because you need to track the where it's calling and where it's this come from and so on. So that's something to be done in order to get familiar with the code of the protocol. And something that I'm trying to do, at least I try with this Venus, is to find similar already deployed and audited frameworks or projects and check the report of their audits. And that way you can see, or that my idea is to then see which issues were raised, and if there's something connected with the let's say Venus was forked from Compound. So I went to DeFi Llama and I was checking which protocols are forked from Compound and are audited. So I was going to the reports and I would check if there was anything that they changed from Compound that would have caused an issue, which was reported. And that way, maybe I could export that, or I could find that in Venus in that case. And yeah, and in general, that's the approach. And then maybe just go deeper in the code and try to navigate through it and understand as much as possible.
Thank you so much for sharing some valuable tips. And I think this is a very amazing approach, that you go out and to the previous audits and just see if any of the fork project has some vulnerabilities, and you can find out similar to some of the protocol that you are currently auditing. So I really appreciate you sharing your valuable feedback and recommendation on how to get started and how to generally approach towards audit. And I have this curiosity, as you being a content creator yourself, I wanted to ask how you basically research on the new trendy topics, and how you keep yourself uh, regularly updated with the new trends, because every now and then there is new thing running, right? So how do you approach towards learning new concept or new technology in general? Like, people out there are like, they are trying to get into it, but they don't know how to stay like active in this community. So do you have anything that you wanted to share about this?
So the fair truth is that I find those things by either while auditing, I find something that I don't know about, that I'm lost, or and then I make a research because I need to figure out, I need to try to understand it. So that's, I mean, then it's very important also to follow the right people on Twitter, and you always either have someone sharing some very valuable information, content, or article, or whatever kind of material, and then either you just go through it and learn something, or also sometimes I follow some newsletters that are not only technical but are about news or different things. And yeah, but then I would either create a thread about something interesting that I've read, or if it's something technical, maybe I would just do my research and figure out or find out more about that thing and then create something. But yeah, in general, also about the DeFi protocols that I'm writing about, it's related to coming audits. So I did one about Juicebox. That was last week, I think it was. I was also participating with some other colleagues, and I wanted to make an overview, as I mentioned before, to make an overview of the protocol to understand what it is about, what can you do with that. So if you understand it better, then you can have a better view of the protocol, and you can focus on the contracts on scope. So again, I find things because I'm every day just learning things.
Okay, got it. And thank you for I and sharing that. And I think a newsletter plays a vital role in keeping someone updated with the new trends. And I personally follow weekly in Ethereum, which is a merge of everything, be it development, be it security, and every aspect. So I think people needs to go out and subscribe to week in Ethereum, because it has a consolidated resources for what have happened in the last week, and it is very active, so go and check it out. And I have a last question for you. That is, people are generally have this dilemma of having like a mindset where they are in the doubt of starting blockchain, and whether there is a future or a career ahead of them in Web3. So do you have any thoughts about careers in Web3 for the people who are just starting this in this field?
Well, I think it is enormous. It is huge. The possibilities here. It's just there are so many different ways you can approach this. The starting now with this, it's amazing. I mean, it's a great investment actually. That's why, yeah, once I started with this, I tried to go all in, and yeah, I don't know. For instance, I was, well, as I say, trying to invest on myself by mm, joining this maybe you know about the smart contract hacking course. So by doing, I mean, by seeing that, by doing this course, you can see that is not only about being an auditor, but you can also focus on the education, for instance, right? Like Johnny did there. And actually, it's something that I'm very interested about, because you can try to be the best auditor, but you can also try to start to create content to help people that are trying to start, and that's actually something I feel comfortable with. But if you're not an auditor, you can be a blockchain developer. You can, I mean, researcher. I know there are so many things that you can focus on. So I mean, yeah, definitely, it seems like a good idea to get into this.
Yeah, and there are like lots of opportunities. It's not just that you need to know about smart contracts, but there are other elements to it as well, like be it front-end engineer, community manager. There are lots of things that you have to explore in Web3. And it is an emerging field, and there is a huge like demand basically of the people. So I just recommend people whom I personally know that don't be afraid to get into this technology, because it has huge potential, and it is an amazing field to, and in the near future, and I think it'll grow. uh, like in the early days of web 2 as well, it was this like kind of similar situation, but I think in the future it will be stable and people will start getting to know about it. And I think that is it for this call. And thank you so much for being here and answering my question. And people, thank you for sticking for so long, and I'll see you in the next episode of this series. Thank you so much. See ya.